Good evening, campers, and welcome aboard the Starship Nightwish. I'm Commander Exorcist, and today is January the 17th, 3309. The Thargoid War continues. We've made some progress, and we've had some setbacks, but it's taken some very interesting turns, and I think we're getting into kind of a rhythm that may be beneficial for us in the long term. But that's not why you're here today. Today it's Tuesday, and it is a typical day to look into Galnet. And oh boy, do I have one today. And this one might not be a popular opinion, but I am going to really just go through this one. It may not be as long as some of the others because the article's a little bit shorter than we've been seeing recently. But before we get started, thank you to the disciples. These are the people that make this content possible. If you like what I do, either with this particular program, with Out There, or any of the things that I do on this channel or social media, and you would like to support, that support would be greatly appreciated. Patreon.com/Commander Exorcist. I do monthly exclusive videos and some behind-the-scenes stuff occasionally, so it's an opportunity for you to contribute and to get something extra. If you're interested, I would greatly appreciate that. So, with that said, let's talk about today's article. Now, Princess Aisling, and I may be saying that wrong. I call her Aisling, but if you call her Eiling or whatever, that's fine. You know, you're allowed to be wrong. But Princess Duval. Princess Duval has spoken. And when Princess Duval speaks, every Aisling Duval simp in the galaxy calls her up and asks her how high she would like them to jump. And that's what's happened here. So, a little bit of a backstory. There used to be an anti-Xeno organization called Aegis, and they are long gone for a number of reasons. And there has been some push recently across all the superpowers to bring Aegis back. And it's one of those things where it's happened a lot. This has happened a lot through history, where you kind of decide, you don't need this thing. You throw it away, and then something really bad happens, and you realize, oh, you know what? I probably needed that thing. And so there's been this discussion back and forth whether we need to restore Aegis as an organization, as an entity itself, or some type of new alliance between the three superpowers. And so for me personally, I'm not a big fan of bringing Aegis back. I think that whatever is created needs to have a little bit of autonomy, but also needs to be reporting to the three superpowers. There needs to be coordination, heavy coordination between the three. So anyway, there's this growing movement to restore Aegis. Well, Princess Duval has spoken, and she has given her support to the restoration of Aegis. And we're going to go through this article, and I'm going to tear apart some of the things that she has to say. And I'm going to talk about kind of my opinion on why I think it's a bad idea. So, Princess Aisling Duval has publicly asked Emperor Arissa Duval, these names are terrible, to reconsider pledging Imperial resources to a cross-superpower anti-Xeno initiative. That's a big deal that she would come out and say that. But it's Aisling. She has a history of going with what she thinks is popular. She's a populist. She looks to what she thinks is going to get her big ratings, and she goes with that. She's not really a strategic thinker. She sees that, oh, there's a group of people over here that are screaming for Aegis to come back. I think I'll go with that. And she goes with that. Her message was shared on all Imperial news feeds. The Empire's capability to defend itself is not in question, but neither is there any doubt that we are facing a protracted war. The ferocity and scale of the Thargoid onslaught on human space is unprecedented. That is true. Of course, the Empire will survive. Yes, it will. As it has for over a millennium. But at what cost? How many systems must fall? And how many citizens will grieve for lost loved ones? Emperor Arissa, I implore you, work with the Alliance and Federation to reform Aegis. Our combined resources are needed to develop new technologies to overcome the alien armadas. Corporate interests must not dictate this path. Let imperial ingenuity and courage light the way to victory over a common enemy. So let's talk a little bit about what she's doing here. She's pulling at the heartstrings. How many citizens will grieve for lost loved ones? You're going for the war, for the people who have been affected by the war. At this point, A lot of people have lost loved ones that in this war. A lot of people have been affected by the war, and so she's going after those people. She wants those votes. How many systems must fall? Warriors have watched systems fall to the Thargoids. Understood that. And then this corporate interests thing, that's a good one because that's really driving at the heart of the monarchy. It's driving at the heart of the isolationist, confined imperial way of life. You know, the empire is much better at technological development and coordination and all these things. And so she's trying to kind of bring that back in, at least in show, to get support for bringing back Aegis. So it's interesting. It's pointless doublespeak. It's just she's not a strategic thinker, and it's popular in many circles, especially in people who are not actively involved in the war effort, for them to sit back and say, "Oh, we need Aegis to come back." You know, the thing is that if Aegis were to return, that could potentially divert resources away from the front line. In a sense, it takes the responsibility of the war effort away from the superpowers and puts it on a fourth party. And that's dangerous. It really is, especially in a time when you need the three superpowers to be working together. A handful of senators supported Princess Aisling's plea initially, though others have criticized her for daring to challenge the Emperor's decree, and yet there has been no response from the Imperial Palace. I'm kind of disappointed in that line because I expected a lot of people to support her initially, and I'd hoped that, you know, after kind of the adrenaline had come down a little bit and people saw, "Oh, she's got a good idea." No, she don't. But it's really more about her challenging the Emperor's decree, which, yes, that's not a good idea, especially in a public forum like this. But it really should have been more about the fact that we don't really have the resources, and reforming Aegis in the middle of the war is probably not a good idea. This is not the time. The time for reforming Aegis has passed. Okay, Aisling is behind. She's really behind. She's chasing popularity, while Orissa and the others that are in charge of the Federation, the Alliance, they're trying to win a war. Gudrun Vestergaard, royal correspondent for the Imperial Herald, commented, "There is speculation that this may cause friction between Aisling and her cousin, Aisling Duval, whose long-held isolationist beliefs are now aligned with Imperial policy." How about that? Until now, both have enjoyed a close relationship, with Aisling even being chosen as honor mother to Hadrian's baby son Hector. I remember that. But their views on imperial foreign policy could not be more different, and recent events have brought this into sharp focus. And this is tabloid stuff. This last part, that's all tabloid nonsense, because in these hierarchy families, in like the royal family, they disagree on politics all the time, but they're still family. And there is the royalty aspect of it, the heritage aspect of the family, and when it comes to these relationships. So yeah, they may not get along on this particular subject, but I don't think this is really going to affect her overall relationship with Hadrian. I think it would more so affect her relationship with Orissa. You know, you've got to think that the Emperor herself is probably annoyed that she's doing the best she can to defend the Empire from an invading alien force, along with helping the Federation and the Alliance do the same thing, and then she's got her niece running around, running her mouth as if she knows better. It's just, it's frustrating to see this kind of stuff, because this is just a distraction. It's a distraction from the stuff that really needs to be handled. You know, Aisling can say whatever she wants, and she's entitled to her opinion, and there are people out there that are going to follow her no matter what. But my advice is that, you know, follow the person who knows what's going on, not someone who's spending their time in the spotlight. I have a feeling that the Imperial Palace has not responded because they don't feel the need to, because they're involved in much more important activities at the moment. So, all right. Not much today, just kind of a roast. I am I don't have anything against the princess, but I know I've seen her type a lot, and in politics, she's really just a lightning rod for attention. And, if she has a solid idea, great, bring it to the table. We'd love to see it. But reforming Aegis in the middle of a war that is in some ways not going well for humanity, this is not the time to be diverting resources to a potential fourth party that may or may not work. It's time to utilize the resources that we already have. So that's all I have, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next week, and keep flying safe. Keep doing what you do, and I will see you out there. Good night.